Bitcoin continues to underperform as a general risk-off sentiment has investors driving toward gold as a safe haven asset. Concerns about the Russo-Ukrainian war continue. The U.S. inflation struggles at a 4-decade high and Fed rate hike fears prevail. The uncertainty extends to the world economy as a recession is expected instead of a recovery. The IMF's managing director Kristalina Georgieva called it a crisis on top of a crisis. The war is a supply shock that reduces economic output and raises prices. Indeed, we forecast inflation will accelerate to 5% in advanced economies and to 3% in emerging European economies excluding Russia, Turkey, and Ukraine. The IMF stated last week. Reuters recently quoted Commerzbank analyst Daniel Briesemann, who talked in a note about the factors that have lent buoyancy to gold in recent days, mentioning the strong buying interest on the part of ETF, exchange-traded fund, investors and news about the Ukraine war. Russia appears to be This summarizes the risk-off sentiment at the moment. As expected, equities suffer as investors are selling risky assets and purchasing the ones negatively correlated to the traditional market. Thus, the crypto space is struggling alongside the stocks market and gold is rising. Data from Arcane Research's latest weekly report notes that it has been a gloomy year for the digital gold. In the first 3 weeks of 2022, Bitcoin sank 25% and it is still down by 18% in the year despite its slight recovery. Similarly, Nasdaq records a 19% decline in the year, having underperformed against Bitcoin by a small margin, notes the report, adding that this is surprising given that Bitcoin has tended to follow Nasdaq, albeit with higher volatility. The general fear over geopolitical and macroeconomic uncertainties. The asset outperformed all the other indexes seen below with a 4% gain. Meanwhile, the currency market is performing with the same risk-off patterns. The dollar has been proving its risk-off dominance as the US dollar index, DXY, is up 7%. The Chinese yuan has taken a hit over concerns about the country's zero-COVID policy, which creates issues for the global supply chain and the slowing down Chinese economy. In contrast, investors have been running to the US dollar for safety. Bitcoin supporters usually refer to the coin as digital gold, alleging it is a safe haven asset, and this narrative had held well while BTC had been uncorrelated with most other major asset classes, but the tide is shifting with the 2022 scenario as investors are rather placing the coin into TH. A previous Arcane Research report indicated that Bitcoin's 30-day correlation with the Nasdaq is revisiting July 2020 highs while its correlation with gold has reached all-time lows. A pseudonym traded noted that as Bitcoin adoption goes on and more institutional investors enter the market, the correlation of BTC and stocks becomes more and more tight. That is a paradigm that the crypto world struggled to come to terms with in the past but is now more real than ever. A healthy stock market is good for Bitcoin. Meanwhile, the general sentiment of traders seems to be bearish, with many saying that the coin could visit the $30,000 level soon.